Hello, good afternoon. On behalf of NV Center, I just welcome all the participants for this webinar. I request Dr. Sagai Alfred, Senior Scientific Officer, to give a brief introduction about Dr. Sivaparamon Chandrasekharan, sir, who is our guest today.
Good afternoon to all of you. It's my pleasure in welcoming the expert and all the participants. Despite being a crunch situation, we are facing the second wave of coronavirus spread throughout the country at this point of time. And despite of this schedule, you are all have been eagerly waiting for this webinar on this day declared as International Day for Biological Diversity by the United Nations on this 22nd May. It is being declared to increase the understanding of the biodiversity and to create awareness of biodiversity on various issues. The theme for 2021 is "We are for the solution." We are part of the solution. We are part of the solution. And if we interlink the same with the theme for the year 2020, which is "Our solutions are in nature." So we can interlink both, and at the same time, the theme for the year 2020 is a continuous of 2021, which serves as a reminder that biodiversity is the answer or remains the answer to several sustainable development strategies and challenges what we are facing today. It's pertinent to note the quote of the UN Secretary General Antonio Guterres: "As we encroach on nature and deplete vital habitats, increasing number of species are at risk. That includes humanity and the future we want." And if you see the UN website, it states clearly that 1 million animal and plant species are now threatened with extinction. Nearly 3/4 of the land-based environment and about 66% of the marine environment have been significantly altered by human actions. And the current negative trends in biodiversity and ecosystems will undermine progress towards 80% of the assessed targets of eight Sustainable Development Goals. So what UN has planned is to conduct the 15th meeting of the Conference of the Parties. We call it as COP15, which is to be convened during October 2021. As long as the biodiversity has a problem, humanity will also have a problem. So the solution is simple. We all have to join hands in protecting and conserving the biodiversity. And at this point of time, it's our privilege. The NV sub of the Puducherry Pollution Control Committee, functioning under the Department of Science, Technology and Environment, Government of Puducherry, is privileged to conduct this webinar on this auspicious day. on the topic Marine Faunal Diversity of India. And immediately it came to our mind to call upon Dr. C. Sivaperuman, scientist team of the Zoological Survey of India and working at Andaman and Nicobar Regional Center, functioning under the Ministry of Environment, Forest and Climate Change. Sir, you are welcome. It's our privilege to welcome you, and really we are happy for immediately accepting our call and to deliver your views, suggestions, as well as your experience on the said subject. Thank you, sir. And also all the participants who are on the podium to attend this webinar. I welcome you all on behalf of the Secretary and the Director of the Department of Science, Technology and Environment. This webinar will be of immense useful to all the participants, and let us all, as I have told, join hands in preserving and conserving the environment and the biodiversity of what we are living today. And before starting the expert talk, I would like all the participants to close your video as well as to mute your mic for free flow of data, except the expert. And if you have any points for discussion or clarification, it may be carried out at the end. Also, I request each and every one of you to be more safe during this critical period and to follow the rules and procedures as prescribed by the government. Thank you. I hand over the podium to Vipin. Vipin, please.
Thank you, sir. Thank you, Dr. Sagai Alfred, sir, for giving a brief introduction about our speakers. So, Dr. Sivaperuman, sir, you can carry on, sir.
Yeah, thank you. Thank you, sir.
Thank you, sir.
Very good afternoon. I, on behalf of Zoological Survey of India, I extend my sincere thanks to the Department of Science and Technology, Puducherry, Government of Puducherry, for inviting me to deliver a talk on the occasion of the International Biodiversity Day. So, since already our scientific officer briefed about that importance of this Biodiversity Day, straight away I'll start my presentation. I made my presentation like this. Before coming to that marine faunal diversity, I would like to brief about Zoological Survey of India, since I am belongs to Zoological Survey of India, but just a few slides. I'm not taking too much. What we are doing and what is our contribution to this country. And then followed by few slides about marine and coastal biodiversity, and there will be some brief about different ecosystem like seagrass ecosystem, seaweed ecosystem, mangrove ecosystem, and coral reef ecosystem. Then we'll be having about importance marine faunal diversity, what we have in our coastal ecosystem. And then among that faunal diversity, what are the animals listed in the schedule Indian Wildlife Protection Act, and then what are the marine protected areas we have in India for conserve and preserve this marine faunal diversity, and finally we'll conclude with what are the threats we are facing in the marine ecosystem, both natural as well as man-made threat. So let's start with the Zoological Survey of India. As you know about Zoological Survey of India, actually Zoological Survey of India started in 1916. But if you go and see that history of Zoological Survey of India, originally started way back in the year 1784 under the banner of Asiatic Society of Bengal. There we traveled under the banner of Asiatic Society of Bengal from say 1784 to 1874. Then it was moved to Indian Museum, Calcutta, where still we have Zoological Gallery at Calcutta in the year 1874. There we functioned under the Indian Museum, Calcutta, from 1874 to 1916. During that period, Dr. Anandal Nelson, who was a superintendent zoology in the Indian Museum of Zoological Section, his dreams and he wanted to bring a separate set of Zoological Survey of India, like other Survey of India, like for example, Botanical Survey of India, Forest Survey of India, Anthropology Survey of India, Archaeology Survey of India. And his desire fulfilled in the year 1916, 1st July, and he brought a separate set of Zoological Survey of India. Thereafter, our uh, survey of organization developed like anything. Then every fifth five-year plan, our survey as set up, that is a regional center. We extended it into regional wise, then political boundary wise, and ecosystem wise. So as of now, we have 16 regional center across the country, situated in various ecosystem and political boundaries, and our headquarters at Calcutta. So these are the various you can region center situated in that various ecosystem. Like northeast state, we have two regional center. One is Arunachal Pradesh, Itanagar, and Shillong. We have. Then for to assess the faunal diversity in the Himalayan region, we have a couple of regional center at Solan, in the Himachal Pradesh, and Dehradun, Uttarakhand. Then to study the desertic fauna, we have regional center at Jodhpur. They are covering both all the desert, Rajasthan, Gujarat, Punjab, Haryana. And we have two regional centers in the Western Ghat, that is the Western Regional Center at Pune and Western Ghat Regional Center at Calicut. In Chennai, we have a couple of regional centers to study that Southern Regional Center to assess the faunal diversity in the southern state. Also, we have Marine Marine Field Center at Chennai to study the marine faunal diversity. Then Hyderabad, we have one regional center called the Freshwater Biology Research Center, which is exclusively studying freshwater ecosystem across the country. Then we have in the Deccan Plateau, we have the Jabalpur, the Central Regional Center. Then Kobalpur, Orissa also we have one regional center to assess the estuarine fauna. Then Patna, we have to assess the Gangetic Plains faunal diversity. Then within West Bengal itself, we have a couple of regional centers. One is Canning and Tika, and we are situated in Port. So if we take out of 16 regional center, 8 are located in that our Indian biodiversity hotspot. You know that Indian biodiversity hotspot, we have 4 Indian biodiversity hotspot, Western Ghats, Sri Lanka, and then Indo-Myanmar, then Northeast also by one of the biodiversity hotspot. But this Andamans, it's comes under the covering 2 biodiversity hotspot. One, the Andaman group comes under the Indo-Myanmar biodiversity hotspot, and Nicobar groups comes under the Sundaland biodiversity hotspot. So our Andaman is very, very important because of rich faunal diversity as well as endemism. And we have 2 type of objectives. I'm not going to detail about this objectives. One is primary, mainly survey exploration of faunal resource of our country in various ecosystem, various state, and preparation of database and updation of database and submission. Also, we do provide a training capacity. Also, we have provision for fellowship and emeritus scientist. Then secondary, we also do ecological studies. We also do molecular assessment, systematic studies. Then we have, wherever you go, regional center, you can find a small regional museum besides our headquarters. And ZS is one of the premier research organization, which we have crossed more than 100 years now, and only our regional center, Zoological Survey of India, doing research from protozoa to mammals. If you go any research institution, they have subset of objectives. Either they are locked with a larger group or smaller group, or any particular assigned group. So CZ is the only organization doing research from protozoa to mammals, and also we have more than 5 lakh preserved specimens, both dry collection as well as wet collection in regional centers as well as certificate quarters. So you cannot find out this many preserved specimen anywhere in the globe. Regional Center, that is Andaman Nicobar Regional Center. Our regional center is established in 1977. Our regional center, only regional center doing the research about the terrestrial as well as marine. Remaining centers, they are locked up with either marine or terrestrial or regional. Our objective is the same. We have to follow the same set of objectives. Almost as of now, we have covered almost 70% of areas, except some of the western portion of our island ecosystem. That also we are in the pipeline to cover that uncovered islands. Other than the scientific work, we do environmental impact assessment as and when required by any government agency. We are not doing for private consultant. And we also do PhD guidance and MPhil guidance. Besides summer vacation training or internship training for those who are doing MSc or graduation level. Other than as a scientist, other than that scientific work, we also have to share some of the administrative duty as and when required. Besides, we do identification advisory service. This is mainly confiscated specimen which we are receiving from Department of Environment, Forest as well as the Mangrove Police for identification. Also, college school student is approach for identification of all samples. And then we have several special centers. Our regional center. Our regional center is a lead institution for Great Nicobar Biosphere Reserve. We have 18 biosphere reserve in the country. So each biosphere reserve allotted some of the universities or institution to coordinate the research in the biosphere reserve program. So we are the nodal agents for Great Nicobar Biosphere Reserve. And our regional center is having one more subset of institute called National Coral Reef Research Institute to assess the marine faunal diversity in the island ecosystem. And our regional center recognized with Pondicherry University for PhD and MPhil. We are offering PhD degree in 3 different subjects: ecology, taxonomy, and zoo geography. And besides, then Indira Gandhi Forest Training Academy and Tamil Nadu Forest Training Academy for in-service officials as well as newly recruited officials. Whenever they're visiting Port Blair, they used to visit our office for discussion about biodiversity of Andaman Nicobar Islands. And our own ministry also nominate our center to provide training under Green Skill Development Program, also training for IFS officers and other stakeholders. And the Indian Navy also recognized our center to study the bird hazard studies in the Naval Airport of Andaman Nicobar Islands. So this is a PhD program. And as of now, we have completed more than 800 field survey. That is a major field survey covering 10 to 30 days. Sometimes it's 3 to 4 months also. As of now, we have more than 150,000 preserved specimens, both dry collection and wet collection. Besides, we have more than 500 extensive survey we have carried out to assess the coral marine faunal wealth in island ecosystem and other fauna, associated fauna. And then, as of now, we have reported more than 10,000 species of fauna in the island ecosystem, of which 10% endemic to this island ecosystem. This is overall, but if we take only marine ecosystem, more than 30% are endemic to this island ecosystem because of isolation of island. Then we have reported many new species, then several publications, reports. So these are some of the recent publications. Then these are some of the latest report of new records to Andaman as well as India. I'm not going to read in detail. Then the last year, we reported a new genus of tree frog from Andaman Nicobar Islands. It was published in the Zoo Taxa. And recently, we have published a new species of mammals, which we recorded from Narcondam Island. It's a new species. This reported after 43 years of reporting this tree shrew. And after this report, that tree shrew numbers increased from 11 to 12. And this is normally found in the tropical forest of Narcondam Island. So now I am coming to that our business, marine coastal biodiversity. So before coming to that faunal diversity of marine faunal diversity of island in India, and just a few slides about the introduction. What is marine coastal biodiversity, and why we have to give this much importance to preserve and conserve this ecosystem. See, if you take what is that marine and coastal biodiversity? See, 70% of planet surface is ocean, and marine and coastal environment is very, very diverse ecosystem. And one third of the oxygen which we breathe, which is getting from the coastal marine ecosystem. And coastal marine ecosystem have various habitat like mangrove forest, coral reef, seagrass, seabed, and then other intertidal habitat. Then why we are giving this much importance? These marine fish and invertebrate are among the most last sources of wild food on the planet, providing 2.6 billion people at least 20% of the average per capita intake in the world. And more than 32 phyla, out of 34 phyla of animal kingdom, 32 phyla is found in the marine coastal ecosystem. And almost 5 lakh to 10 million marine species found in this our ocean. And even if you take a species diversity is known as 10,000 square meter in that Indo-Pacific Ocean. And every day we are getting new record, new species, and new addition from that marine ecosystem. Then what are the problems? There are many problems like other ecosystem, marine ecosystem also facing. According to the Millennium Ecosystem Assessment, the world ocean is highly threatened and subject to rapid environment changes. This because of land-based pollution, then overfishing, destruction of fishing, and also illegal fishing. And then there are many other issues, alternation, habitat alteration, and then invasion, and pollution. So these are some of the things, some of the problems facing the coastal and marine ecosystem, similar to other ecosystems. Then our country, what we have more than 8,000 kilometers stretches of coastline covering all 10 coastal states and 7 union territory. Besides, we have exclusively economic zone of 2.02 million square meter of exclusively economic zone, and this exclusively economic zone comprising 0.86 million square kilometer in the west coast and 0.56 million square kilometer in the east coast and 0.6 million square kilometer around the Andaman Nicobar Islands. The coastal and marine ecosystem occur almost 123 countries around the world, and the Indian Ocean account for 23% of global ocean area and 13% of marine organic carbon synthesis from the our Indian Ocean, 10% of capture of fisheries from Indian Ocean, 90% of culture fishes from Indian Ocean, and 30% of coral reef, 10% of mangroves found in that our Indian Ocean. Also, 246 estuaries are draining in the, our Indian Ocean. So now I am coming to the ecosystem. So what are the ecosystem we have? We have various ecosystem, like we have seagrass ecosystem, we have seaweed ecosystem, we have mangrove ecosystem, we have marine ecosystem, then we have coral reef ecosystem. Let's see what are these are the ecosystem, how they are contributing, how we have distribution, and what are the importance, why we need to protect these are the ecosystem. See, these are you can see different type of ecosystem, but these all interlinked. You cannot disturb any ecosystem. If you disturb any ecosystem, for example, if you are disturbing seaweed ecosystem or seagrass ecosystem, then the entire ecosystem will be collapsed. So you cannot imagine, or you can disturb only the coral reef ecosystem, remaining other 4 ecosystem, there will not be any effect. No, it should not be not like that. All ecosystem there are interconnection. So these are the marine faunal diversity list. I'm not going to read each and every phyla and group. We have more than 20,000 species of faunal diversity reported from our country. And coming to the seagrass ecosystem. So seagrass ecosystems, I think it is one of the marine flowering plant which is found in the shallow water, also some extent in the deep sea water. And this seagrass ecosystem very important for our endangered species of dugong, which we have in the east coast, mainly Gulf of Mannar. And Andaman also is a very ideal habitat for dugong. And wherever seagrass ecosystem is there, you can find out this dugong population. And seagrass ecosystem serve as a fishing ground for several species of fishes. Also serve as a wave protection, oxygen protection, protect against coastal erosion from many aspects. And also provide a habitat for variety of marine organisms. Other than the dugong, many faunal diversity reported from this seagrass ecosystem, from plankton to fish and mammals. Mm. Then, other than the dugong, this also feeding ground for many turtle species, fishes, and sea urchin. And primary protection also very high in the seagrass ecosystem. For example, 1 square meter of seagrass can produce 10 liters of oxygen per day. And seagrass meadows account of 50% of ocean total carbon storage. And 1 square meter seagrass are capable of binding about 1,000 grams of carbon every year. If we take a number of species, overall 14 species of seagrass are reported from our country, of which 10 species from Andaman also very good diversity we have reported. There are many patches in Andaman as well as Gulf of Mannar also we have very good patches of seagrass. And Lakshadweep also. So these are the if we take world, we have more than 60 species of seagrass. So you can see the map distribution of seagrass in all areas, west coast, east coast, also island ecosystem. Then this is the importance, and that's dugong. It's a very important species in the seagrass ecosystem. Then these are the various faunal group which are reported from the seagrass ecosystem of various coast, Gulf of Mannar, Andaman Nicobar Island, and Lakshadweep. Then I'm coming to seaweed ecosystem, and like a seagrass ecosystem, seaweed ecosystem also one of the important ecosystem in the coastal ecosystem. And the seaweed is nothing; it is a marine macrobiotic algae. Over 10,000 species reported across the globe. Under the three phylum, commonly called brown algae, red algae, and green algae. And the seaweed ecosystem also plays significant roles in the coral reef. They are the symbiotic algae are important for associated hermaphroditic corals for reef formation. And they are normally distributed in the intertidal, also subtidal region. And overall, 900 plus species reported from India and 290 species from Andaman Nicobar. So these are the various species of seagrass ecosystem and seaweed ecosystem. So overall, in India, reported as Tamil Nadu, Andaman Nicobar Island, Gujarat, Maharashtra, Lakshadweep, Andhra Pradesh, and Goa. This is the number of species against the state. And another ecosystem called the mangrove ecosystem. This is a very important ecosystem which we have all coastal state and union territories. So one of the world most protective ecosystem in the globe. Often the mangroves called tidal forest, coastal woodland, and or oceanic rainforest. The mangrove ecosystem also serve several socio-economic and many environmental significance for this mangrove ecosystem. They are protecting shores from wind, waves, water current, then preventing soil erosion and siltation, protecting coral reef, seagrass bed, and shipping lines, supplying wood and other forest product, providing habitat and nutrient for variety of organisms, then supporting coastal fisheries as well as livelihood. Then mangrove ecosystem provide ecosystem service. If we take as per the available literature, almost $1,94,000 per hectare in the year 2014 is estimated from the mangrove ecosystem. Then 75% of world mangrove found in the tropical coastline. And we should remember, and a fifth of India population live in the coast, especially coastal cities like Mumbai, Chennai, Puducherry, Trivandrum, and Kochi, which are protected by the mangrove ecosystem, especially during the tsunami waves. And these are the distribution of mangrove uh, in various countries. That overall, this mangrove forest is disappearing at the rate of 0.7%. But in India, there is increase by 1.2%. And why we have to give this much importance to the mangrove ecosystem? Mangrove forests is they are the indicator of health of coastal ecosystem, and they are the interlinking between the sea and the land. And the ecosystem is they are pollutant filtering, protecting coastal ecosystem against storms, tsunamis, and other impact. Then mangroves also serve as a breeding and nursery for several fishes and other marine organisms. Also, it is a livelihood for local communities. Then we have the extent of mangrove, 4,921 square kilometer along the coastal state and the union territory, which is 0.1% of country's total geographic area. Then three distinct zone habitat we have, that is coastline, west coast, then in inland territories and Lakshadweep. Alone we have 1,816 square kilometer. Also, long coastline and mangrove vegetation have immense role for protecting this coastal biodiversity. Then mangroves we can classify very dense mangrove, moderate mangroves, and open mangroves. Andaman, of course, all thick and dense mangroves. Then this is the distribution of mangrove across the globe. Mangroves also we have almost all over 23 countries in the globe. More than 73 true species of mangroves reported from the mangrove ecosystem. So this is the mangrove distribution. There are total world 15 million hectares of mangroves found in the globe, which is 1% of tropical forests of world. Then 40% of world mangrove cover in the East Asia, of which 6.8% is South Asia. In India, we have 3% of South Asia, extent of South Asia of mangrove we have in India. Then we have distribution in almost all coastal state and union territories. So this is the latest figure assessed by Forest Survey of India. Then mangrove ecosystem again. Why this much importance? Why need to conserve or preserve? See, each and every part of mangrove ecosystem is important. You cannot ruled out only this canopy only serving providing ecosystem service, or root only providing ecosystem service, or only woody portion only providing ecosystem service. See, we take the habitat of mangrove, for example, tree canopies is ideal habitat for bats, birds, insect, and mites. Then higher part of mangroves is important for some other groups. Then lower part and roots is important for some different groups. Then mudflats are highly used by fertile crops or euca species. Then rocky and coralline also is important for some other species. Then coastal mangrove edges also is important. So we cannot rule out any part of the mangrove ecosystem. So this distribution of mangrove ecosystem. Then this is the faunal diversity. More than 3,000 species of fauna are reported from mangrove ecosystem alone from our country. And now I'll be moving to coral reef ecosystem. Another ecosystem is this also we have in India. This coral is reef is we have highest coral reef concentration in the Indonesia, followed by Australia and the Philippines, and we have Ours is a 10th largest reef nation and damaging. So control the damages during the storms and other waves. Also, carbon and nitrogen environment regulate CO2 and carbon dioxide. Then also see this many ecosystem services there we are obtaining from coral reef ecosystem, starting from education and research. We are getting ecotourism, recreation, primary protection, habitat, feeding and breeding ground, aquarium, medical, then food, then carbon sequestration, coastal protection, and climate change. So we cannot rule out the coral reef ecosystem. So then reef tourism. This is as per the available literature at Saipan, 42.3 million per year they earned because of coral tourism, and the fisheries alone, $1.3 million from that coastal ecosystem, and was only the tourism activities, the fun diving alone that's, provide $5.8 million per annum. And again, this coral reef ecosystem is very, very important for marine fauna as well as other associate fauna. So coral reef we have across that globe, mainly 70% of coral reef found in the Indo-Pacific region, followed by Mediterranean, Indian Ocean, then Pacific Ocean, Caribbean Sea, Red Sea, also Persian Gulf. In India, we have 4 major coral reef. One is Gulf of Mannar, Gulf of Kutch, Lakshadweep, and Andaman Nicobar Islands. Besides, we have small patches at Malwan coast, and Orissa, also Vizag coast, also Vizag coast of Orissa, Andhra Pradesh, and Odisha also we have small patches. So, as I said, we are the 10th largest reef nation. Then we have various type of coral reef. We have um, uh, 3 types of coral reef. One is a fringing reef, barrier reef, and atoll. Then fringing reef, barrier reef, we have in the Indian mainland and Andaman Nicobar Islands. The atoll found only in the Lakshadweep Islands. So I'm coming to this coral reef. These are some of the coral reef. This is plate coral and other coral species. But all coral species are listed in the Indian Wildlife Protection Act. So you cannot touch any coral species unless you get permission from state wildlife board as well as national wildlife. So this is a small video of coral reef ecosystem before moving to other species of coral as well as associate fauna. So these are the reef fishes, coral reef associated fishes. Whenever you go inside the marine ecosystem, you can see these are the fishes and the various type of coral reef, plate corals. So our diving team, they are inside that coral reef ecosystem, assessing that marine faunal wealth of island ecosystem. Overall, we have 585 species of coral reported from India, of which 523 species we have in Andaman Nicobar Islands. So these are some of the coral species, various species, brain coral, and this is Acropora. And as I said, type of reef, as I said, these 3 type of reef. Fringing reef, which is formed all along the edges of continental shelf, and barrier reef form all along the edges of continental shelf and are separated from the island or mainland. And atoll, as I said, is found on the Lakshadweep Island. So this is some of the table corals which found in Andaman as well as other coral reef region. And among the coral reef, 523 species, two are endemic species found in only in the Andaman Nicobar Islands. So these are some of the Acrobora species, and then Acrobora species in of coral reef. Then it's look like a flower. These are the foliage coral. Then some boulder corals and other species. Then we have another type of coral species called Antipatherine coral. These are the species found in the normally deep sea water. It can grow up to 6 feet. They they are also sometimes used as medicinal value and ex, ex, exploited for jewelry and ornamental purpose. Overall, 259 species reported from the world, of which 10 found in the India, and Andaman also we have 10 species. So these are some of the Antipatherine or black corals. Then we have octocorals, that's sometimes called soft corals. Overall, we have 3,200 species in the world, of which India we have 400 plus species. So these are the various group of soft corals. So this Alcinian coral, 158 species and 109 species Andaman. Then again, this is some of the coral. This you can see all coral reef areas, all major coral reef areas. Then we have organ pipe corals. This is a very, very important species. Found only one species, that too found only Great Nicobar Island. And this normally is a very, very important because this sometimes they exploited for several ornamental purposes. There is sometimes called red corals. And then we have another group called Gargonian, sea fan, and other type of coral. We have in the world 659 species of coral, of which 219 we have in India, and 99 species reported from Andaman Nicobar Islands. And of all species protected under the Indian Wildlife Protection Act. So you cannot touch any of the species. So these are some of the Gargonians. These are all found in the deep sea water. You cannot see the shallow water. Once if you want to see this an original, you have to dive uh, uh, in the sea. Then only you can see in the native original species. Then we have Pendaculesa, is commonly known as a sea pen. This also found in our marine ecosystem. Overall, 200 species in the world, but only 35 species we have in India, of which only 20 species we have. This is a different type of Pendaculesa. And then we have blue corals. Even the color itself, we can see that blue tint because of the blue tint. It's named as a blue coral. We have only one species of blue coral. Yeah, even world only we have only two species. Then sea anemone. This is also one of the marine associate coral reef or important associate coral fauna in the marine ecosystem called this. Normally, it's a sessile polyp, sometimes without a skeleton, found in the marine ecosystem. They are associated with Crustacea, Mollusca, fishes, sponges. Sometimes they will be solitary also. They are also very, very important in the bioactive molecules. Over the world, we have 1,100 species of sea anemone, of which 70 species are reported from India, and 28 species we have in Andaman. So these are some of the sea anemones found in the Andaman, as well as other marine ecosystem of our country. Then sea anemone fishes, then we have sea anemone crab, sea species, and crustacean associated with the sea anemones. Then Hydrosova, this is also one of the unexplored group. Recently only we started to give attention to this group. This also one of the very, very important and small group, only 300 species in India, of which 197 species from West Coast. East Coast also we have 150 species, and Andaman Nicobar Islands 98 species. So these are the hydrozoa. Then we have fire corals. This also only few species, only 5 species found in India, and all 5 species reported from Andaman also. Then sponges. So one of the sessile organism, sometimes solitary or sometimes attached with the other group of animals. This sometimes called core bearer. They are as very very important, and they are sessile, uh, exclusively aquatic. So both freshwater also. You can see the sponge distribution, and they form close association with the wide variety of organisms. Then world, over the world, we have 8,339 species of sponges, that is Syrian sponges, of which 126 species of Syrian sponges we have in Andaman, and 476 in India. This and the Syrian sponges first appeared during the Cambrian, and their diversity very greatest. And they are also very, very important with the marine ecosystem. They are the filter feeders. And this is the various species of sponges in Andaman and Nicobar Islands, as well as other ecosystem. And this is only same species, that the morphology is there is a variation in the morphology because of that water current and availability of sunlight and depth. According to the depth, they are varying with the size and um, morphology. Then another group called polyclad. This is one of the flatworm. Um, these also all are neglected groups. Not much attention given in this group. But recently only we are given more attention, and we got many new species also in this group. Overall, only 52 species reported from India, and if you compare with the world, we have only few species reported till now. But if we are giving more attention on this group, we may get a more number of new species, and they are free living and associated with many marine faunal animals. So these are some of the variation between polyclad and sea. Upisobrang. Upisobrang is a mollusk, but you see look like the same. But as a layman, you can see this is the same species. So these are some of the different species of polyclad which we have reported from our marine ecosystem. And another group called arthropod, crustacea also comes under this group. I don't know how many of you heard about this coconut crab. This is one of the land crab, but this species normally spending their life period during the breeding season. That is after egg laying up to hatchling only they are spending in that marine ecosystem. Remaining in that entire period, they are in the terrestrial ecosystem, and this is the only terrestrial crab which can grow up to 4 kgs, and they are the T4 terrestrial crab, and this fellow are they will climb the coconut trees and do lot of damages, and we have distribution maximum population in Nicobar group of island. In Andaman we have only one island, that is called the South Sentinel. Remaining in Nicobar group we have good population of this species. And there's other species of crab, mud crab, and coral reef associate crabs. Then another group called Opisopurang. This also comes under the molluscan group. Even up to 10 years back, not much species reported from this group. But last 10 years only, we have given attention, and we have reported more than almost 300 species from this group. And in India, we have 430 plus species of this Opisopurang. This, if you see the color pattern of this animal, many of the foreign countries they have taken patent for this species to use that color pattern for various textile and other industries. Normally, mollusk means might be thinking they'll covered with the shell, but this fellow they having a shell inside the body, so only is placed under that mollusk group. This is a very minute microscopic animals. So, when you take out from the field, they will be losing that color. So these all pictures taken inside the marine ecosystem. And that is a natural habitat. Then another group called mollusk. This is a well explored group. We have more than 5,000 species in India. Andaman also 1,200 species of mollusk we have reported. And most of the species listed in the Schedule 1 of Wildlife Protection Act, and also some of the species listed in the Schedule 4 of Wildlife Protection Act. So these are some of the scheduled mollusk, helmet shell and other clams shell and the nautilus. So these are the shells listed in the Wildlife Protection Act. So again, these are the shell listed and the Schedule 4 of Wildlife Protection Act. Then another group called Bryozoa. This is also not much work carried out in India. Only Gulf of Mannar, some of the studies carried out, and besides Andaman also we are doing. This group called mass animals. Sometimes we used to call mass animals. This also not much studied, but identification is very difficult in this group. We have only 46 species till now reported from our country, island ecosystem, but India overall 250 plus species reported in this group. So these are some of the race of Andaman Nicobar Islands. So this we do call mass animals. Then Echinodermata. This is also one of the well explored group. Within the Echinodermata, there are 5 classes. That is Carinaria, Asteria, Echinoria, Operia, and Holotheria. So we have more than 7,000 species in the world, of which 700 species reported from our country. So this echinoid that is called a sea urchin. This you can see the intertidal ecosystem as well as deep sea water. Then we have brittle star. This is also very very sessile animals. We have 180 species in our country. Then sea star. You might have seen during your school days or in even museum. Sometimes you can see this type of sea star. But these all are very very important and very colorful in the marine ecosystem. Then we have feather star or sea lily. This is also very very sessile. If you touch it, immediately they will break. And this also you can see whenever you go to the intertidal ecosystem in anywhere our coastal ecosystem. Then another group called Holotheria, that is a sea cucumber. Actually, our country, all sea cucumber species are protected by the Indian Wildlife Protection Act, but the South Asian countries, it is available in the open market. It's a highly medicinal value. So only many of the poachers from South Asian countries, especially Myanmar, some other Thailand people, they used to come to our Indian waters to explore this marine. That is sea cucumbers diversity. So these are the various species of sea cucumbers. Then again, these are all very common. Commonly, you can see whenever you go to the marine ecosystem. Then another group, Ascidian, also it's commonly called sea curate. This also very very tiny marine creatures. Sometimes it's sessile, sometimes attached with the rock areas or coral reef or other Faunal group. In the world, we have 2,900 species, and India we have 440 plus species. Only 99 species reported from island ecosystem. So various species of ascidians. Then fishes. Fishes also almost explored, well explored, but still we need to do deep sea ecosystem. Of course, we are not concentrated maximum in the deep sea ecosystem. When we go do serious studies in the deep sea ecosystem, we make it many new exploration. As of now, 3,000 plus species of fishes reported from our Indian water, and for almost 1,500 species reported from our island ecosystem. But still, we can explore many species of fishes from the ecosystem, our ecosystem. So sea horse and then other species of fishes, then various coral reef fishes. So this is some of the small video of fishes of coral reef ecosystem. So another group is a reptile. Reptiles, all as the crocodiles, turtles, all comes under this. Sea snakes, all comes under this group. Turtles, we have all five. Um, Green sea turtle, hawkbill turtle, leatherback, olive redley, and long-haired turtles all found in our coastal ecosystem. Which leatherback turtles is found only in the Andaman and Nicobar group of beaches, and there are 10 breeding sites of leatherback turtle in the world. And Andaman Nicobar group is one of the breeding site, and Nicobar supporting the second topmost population of this leatherback turtles. Of course, olive redley turtle also we have in Andaman, and even olive redley you can see plenty of individuals in east coast of Orissa, especially Gagrimadas as a wildlife sanctuary or Chirika and other areas for breeding. Then Green Sea and Hawk will also regularly visiting our Indian beaches for breeding. Then sea Seneca. This is a highly poisonous Seneca, but a very shy animal. They will try to escape only, but their venom is highly poisonous. They directly attack the neurotoxin. We have 9 species in the island ecosystem. Overall in India, we got 25 species of sea snakes. Then I'll be moving to the birds, coastal and wetland birds. Overall, we have 220 plus species of coastal wetland species. This we can divide it into various residential categories. That is a resident, then transient migrant, resident migrant, vagrant, and stragglers. Overall, East Coast we have 166 plus species of coastal wetland birds. Then 163 from West Coast. The island ecosystem of Andaman also supporting equally from the East Coast as well as West Coast. So these are the number of species reported under various order from Andaman Nicobar Islands. Then West Coast from various order. Among the order, Paradiformes is supporting more number of species, followed by Falconiformes and Syconiformes. Then East Coast also we have a good number of coastal, that is coastal and migratory species. We have 166 species, of which Paradiformes is supporting more number of species. Then, what are the important coastal wetland species? Among the species, various group, this grub is one of the important group. We have 5 species of grubs in the coastal wetland, of which East Coast we have 1 species, West Coast 2 species, and Andaman Nicobar we have only 1 species. Then another group called petrel and shearwater. Actually, these are that normally they found in the mid-sea of our coastal ecosystem. During the onset of monsoon, they'll be washed out to the shore. This shearwater. But of course, petrels you can see in the mid-sea. Sometime during monsoon season, you can see in the coastal areas also. Then another group called frigate birds, boobies, cormorant, shag, tartar, and tropic birds. We have shag, we have cormorant, and we have frigate birds. We have 17 species of this group, of which 6 species from East Coast, West Coast 9 species, and again Andaman also supporting good number of species, 6 species out of 17 Indian subcontinent. Then we have rallied. Even your mainland, you can see in Pondicherry also you can see these are the species the freshwater ecosystem, common coot, and then common Morgan and purple Morgan. We have 33 species in the Indian subcontinent, of which 8 species from East Coast, 11 species West Coast, and 9 species from Andaman Nicobar Islands. Then we have flamingos. We have East Coast, West Coast also. A couple of reports are there, but Andaman ecosystem we are not having the species because it is not suitable habitat. But in the West Coast, in the Gulf of Kutch, we have breeding ground, and East Coast, Pine Calamari, we have a good number of species you can see during the migratory season. and another group called ducks and teals. In the world, we have 150 species, and east coast we have 18, west coast 16. Island also we have supporting good number of species. This is one of the endemic species of Andaman tail, found only in the Andaman island ecosystem, and this cotton tail among the 150 species of tail. This is one of the smallest tail, weighing only 150 gram of weight, and this is very common. You can see Indian mainland and other west coast, east coast, lesser whistling. Then we have heron and egrets. We have median egret. We have large egret. That's Andaman little green heron. Then Pacific reef egret. This Pacific egret are normally found in the coastal ecosystem. Wherever rocky areas and intertidal shore is there, you can see this fellow. Then we have badas. These badas are shorebirds, are migratory species. We have 9 migratory flyways, out of which 5 are very very important migratory flyways for migratory badas. Out of 5, in India we have 2 flyways. One is Indian Asian flyway, another one is East Asian Australasian flyway. That the Indian Asian flyway covering almost 90% of country, and East Asian Australasian flyway covering eastern portion of our country as well as Andaman Nicobar Islands. So these are the flyways used by various species of migratory birds, and these are the birds generally coming to our country from September to March for that feeding purpose, and then they will go and breed. Then again they will come back. So little stint, little ringed plover, and curlew, Eurasian curlew. Then we have raptors. We have 38 species of raptors in island ecosystem. 27 east coast and west coast also we got 29 species. White-bellied seagull, pied harrier, and marsh harriers. Then these are some of the migratory waders, which you can see in the Indian coastal wetlands. So these are the migratory birds. Then marine mammals. Marine mammals, we have in India 33 species of marine mammals. All the marine species protected in the Schedule 1 and 2 of Indian Wildlife Protection Act. As I said initially, this is a very, very important mammals in the marine ecosystem. Then some of the scheduled mollusk, which are listed, some of them already showed. Then even our coconut crab also listed in the Indian Wildlife Protection Act. Then limulus, horseshoe crab. This also listed in the Indian Wildlife Protection Act of Indian Schedule of 4. So these are the very, very important. Then, as I said, all Holotheria, that is a sea cucumber, listed in the Wildlife Protection Act. You cannot touch any individual of this animal. So these are some of the sea cucumbers. Then seahorse, also listed in the Wildlife Protection Act. Then fishes, some of the shark and the rays listed in the Indian Protection Act. So anybody touching this species is offense. And this is some of the shark. Then various species of shark. Then the rays and the Pondicherry shark is also very, very important species. So these are some of the soft fish. Then reptiles, all reptiles, the turtle species listed in the Wildlife Protection Act. So again, even for research also we need to take approval from Indian Wildlife Board to take up any studies also. Then these are some other species of turtles. Then crocodiles, again Schedule 1 of Wildlife Protection Act. Then mammals, the dugong, Schedule 1. Then to cover, to conserve or preserve this much marine resources, we have several marine, exclusively marine protected area in our country to preserve, besides other national park and biosphere reserve. So we have 33 coastal and marine protected area, and 3 marine biosphere reserve also in the country to conserve and preserve these marine resources. And these are the marine protected areas in the world. And India, we have all over the Indian west coast, east coast, and island ecosystem. We have marine protected area to conserve and preserve this marine faunal diversity. And again, we have various acts other than the Biodiversity Act. We have coastal regulation zones and then we have Indian Wildlife Protection Act and then various conservation act to conserve or protect these marine resources. Then threats, we have natural threats that bleaching. Whenever the sea surface temperature increase, and then there will be issue of bleaching. Then disease, coral disease. Then earthquake, tsunamis. Of course, it is not our control. Then crown of thorn. Then that's called a sea star. And these are some of the fellows. If they occupy the coral reef, that the coral reef growth will be destroyed and they cannot grow. So some other these are the natural threat. So and then bleaching is a main threat, which so then these are the effect of coral reef. Bleaching. So all coral reef bleached. And this is a natural threat during tsunami in Andaman, North Andaman, as one island is lifted during tsunami. So almost 1 kilometer of coral reef died during the tsunami. So these are the natural threat. Then we got other threat, man-made threat. We got pollution, pesticide effect, then overfishing, then conversion of land for some other purpose. So these are some of the man-made threat. So these are some of the various threat posed by man-made. So thank you. So these are some of the brief about faunal diversity of India. If you have any doubt, you can ask.
Dear participants, if you have any clarifications, you can ask, sir.
Dr. Subramanian, very good and wonderful talk on marine biodiversity. Is useful to the youngers. And I have two questions. One is, tell about any endemic faunal species in Andaman and Nicobar Islands. And second one is, any extinct faunal species found in Andaman.
No, Andaman, sir, thank you for your complimenting, sir. Actually, Andaman, we have many, especially marine, we cannot found endemic species, but only few groups. Even coral, we have a couple of endemic species we have. But marine fishes, we cannot say is endemic. Only few group of marine organism we have endemic. But extinct species we don't have in Andaman Nicobar Islands.
No, you are telling that Andaman teal and Andaman serpent eagle, like that, some of the species
That
are
is
there.
a coastal species. It's learned.
Is it found in anywhere else?
No, exclusive Andaman. No, the white-bellied sea eagle you can see all over the coast, but Andaman teal is found only in Andaman group of islands, even not in Nicobar group.
Okay, thank you.
Hello. Good evening.
Yeah, good evening.
Good evening. A very nice presentation. Really, it's very wonderful resources. We got it actually. Really, I have only one question, Anna. How many of dying because of snake bite, especially marine snake bite? Any data is available currently?
No database. Even a couple of years back, somebody came and presented on a project also. As of now, there is no report.
Oh, okay.
Normally, they won't bite. Whenever you go nearby, they will escape. Very shy animals.
Yes.
Very rarely they will bite.
Yeah, that's what we have. Any data is available
No,
anymore?
no database available.
Okay, thank you. Nice presentation, ma'am. Thank you.
Yeah, thank you.
Sir, is there any surveys been carried out near to Pondicherry about the corals, or is there any reportable available?
Yeah, yes. Recently, our team, they are doing survey, but still they are doing. They are not concluded that report. They are doing some surveys.
Okay. Even seagrass is also available, sir. Because in your map, I had seen that along the east coast,
Yes.
there is some portions.
East coast maximum found in that Gulf of Mannar region.
Okay. Not along the our east coast, like from Chennai to Puducherry.
Chennai, all we have, but not much.
Okay, so great. Someone has asked the questions about basis of red, white, and black mangroves is how it is categorized.
And that is mainly for based on the distribution of from the coast to landward region.
One Miss Arati has asked about very informative seminar, sir. Thank you, sir. My doubt is actually how many true mangrove species has been identified around the globe. I have
73.
Okay.
73, India, we have 36.
Okay. Dear participants, if you have any other questions, you can kindly text in the chat box. If not, we can wind up this section. Okay, now this is a time for honoring them. I thank Dr. Chandrasekharan Shivakumar sir for giving an insight on the marine faunal diversity on this day, when environmentalists are celebrating the International Day of Biological Diversity. The pictorial representation which you have been shown us in the presentation is both very much informative. Thank you so much, sir. And I thank Minister of Environment, Forest and Climate Change on this occasion. I thank our Secretary Environment as well as Member Secretary Dr. S. Dinesh Kannal sir for their support in organizing the webinar, considering the summit pandemic and lockdown sessions is happening in Puducherry. Thank you, sir. I thank all the participants, my dear colleagues and my friends for participating in this webinar and making us this a grand success. Thank you, sir.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you, sir. I'm just closing the sessions.
Thank you.